Well, good evening, everybody. It's GW. I just want to make sure everybody has a chance to look below, see if there's a place to subscribe or follow or do something to make it know so that I know that you've been listening to these. Hope you do so. I hope you find them entertaining. I'm just an old guy. I mean, that's really the bottom line. I am an old guy, and I'm pretty set in my ways. So I sat there and I went on to Google, and I said, "What are stereotypes for old guys?" And they came up with several stereotypes that, I hope really are not totally accurate here. But they say if you say you're an old guy, that means you're slow, you're weak, you're feeble, you have cognitive incompetence, and you're unproductive. Well, now my wife might say yes to all those. I don't know. I hope she wouldn't, but you never know. She might. But that's quite a list. Because I'm old, but I don't feel like I'm any of those things all the time. I may be all of those things some of the time, but not all the time. So, what I came really want to talk about today, though, is we're about 2 weeks from the election, and this is going to be just an interesting election. I mean, everybody is saying it's going to be so tight. I don't personally think it is. I don't think it's going to be tight at all. But everybody says it's going to be just razor thin, and it's going to be just just a couple of swing states are going to make the difference or anything else. And I sit there and I just think the American people have better thoughts than to be sucked down a rabbit hole. Now I say that. Now I live in a very conservative area of the country, and I am not particularly conservative. So, that makes it that I'm kind of the odd guy out. So, if people are going to be listening to this who live in this area, they're probably going to now be burning signs in my front yard. But, the fact of the matter is we've got two choices. There's only two choices, and it has taken us a long time to get down to these two choices. So, so you have these two choices. So, how do you choose which one's right? Well, you take all the information that's available to you. And when you take a look at the information, you have one side with a man that if you listen to his speeches, they they're disconnected. They're even more disconnected than my thought pattern is right now. And that's pretty scary. And he just rambles and he just says the same thing over and over. And he himself has said, you can say anything. And if you say it often enough, people will believe it. That's really scary. Now, in my neighborhood, we have a Facebook page. Many neighborhoods, almost all neighborhoods anymore, have a Facebook page that they have for themselves. And it's just to kind of, goings on of the neighborhood and see what's going on. And we have a page that is theoretically uncensored that people can say anything. And one young lady came on here about not too long ago and gave an opinion that was against the gentleman that I was talking about, and she was eviscerated um, pretty strongly in on Facebook with all the comments of, "Oh my gosh, how could she, believe the propaganda that comes from the left? How could she believe all this propaganda?" And you got to sit there and go, "Wow, propaganda. Okay, that sounds like something that a communist country would do or a Nazi country would do. What if you're just talking the truth?" And she was referring back to the January 6th insurrection, and she was referring back to several different things, but she was just eviscerated on this. And I felt sorry for her. I really did. But there's a few things that have come up that when you take a look at this and you go, okay, well, what's the last 4 years been like? Well, it's been interesting. First of all, in my opinion, the first year and a half was spent course correcting from the direction that the previous president had taken us on. a previous president that had gone out into international areas and had been openly laughed at by the other leaders in the world. So you had to correct that. You had to gain back the momentum that we have here in the United States of being a country that you can trust and can believe in. And then you have all the different policies and everything that goes on. Now, has everything been right? No, of course not. No president has ever had a 4-year term that everybody in the country said, wow, that was really great. Even a full wartime president like FDR, although had great acceptance for his policies, he was not really looked at by everyone in the country as being wonderful. So, but here's some things though that are pretty, I think these are facts. I really do. The news service, The Hill, in late September said that the second quarter GDP locks in at 3% growth. Now, that's not bad, okay? That's a pretty good second quarter. And then you have Reuters, who came on and said the U.S. economy is on solid ground as retail sales surprise on the upside. Well, if retail sales are surprising on the upside, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then you have CNN Business, and it says American pay gains rose faster than expected so far this year. So that means that everybody in the United States, that if you're going to get a pay raise, it might be a little bit more than what you were expecting. Well, that's good too. Okay, and then you have CNBC, and it says the Fed slashed interest rates by 0.5 point, an aggressive start to its first easing campaign in 4 years. It's taken 4 years to get the economy back under control. Now it is back under control, and they're able to take the interest rates and start backing them back down again. This is wonderful news. And Forbes sat there and said, record-breaking accomplishments in jobs and unemployment under Biden. So record-breaking accomplishments in the development of jobs and the decreasing of unemployment. Again, really good news. And then you have NBC News and any news. I mean, just look on your computer right now. And it says the Dow adds 200 points, closes above 43,000 for the first time. That was a day or two ago. How can you argue, excuse me, how can you argue that those are not great things? Good news. I mean, that is everything in the economy just kind of bubbling forward and moving forward. So why would you want to go back and just wipe out those 4 years? And why would you want to go with a guy who has said that he's going to gut the Department of Justice and he's going to fire all the bureaucracy that was standing in his way the last time? How can you support that when you have an economy and you have a nation that is starting to run as it should? I just am at a loss. I hope that when you listen to this, you hear what I'm saying. Vote for whoever you want. That's the American way. That is absolutely the American way. But, this is an election that's important. This is an election that is as important as any election that we have had in the United States in probably 150 years. This is an election that is going to decide which way this country is going to go. Now, I hope that we stay a democracy. A democracy is important. A democracy is what we want to have. We don't want to have a strong man taking power. We don't want to even have the possibility of that strong man taking power. It is time for us to make that decision formally, completely, and move forward. That's all I got to say. I hope you listened. I'm GW. Take heart with this. Remember, the Lord is with us. God knows why. Well, maybe God does know why. And may the Lord bless you, give you peace.